welcome to the Psychic Side. I'm your host, John Cappello, and we're delighted to be here today on the A1R Psychic Radio Network, Moonstruck TV, Enlightening Television, and a bunch of other places. And we're happy to be on the #1 psychic radio network on Earth. So we are the Psychic Side, and we like to talk about things that are just about the psychic gifts, and we like to dispel the skeptics. And this year, we've been having lots of guests on our program. Today, it's just going to be me talking about my psychic predictions and taking a couple of callers as well. So I hope that if you'd like a psychic reading, we'll be happy to give you one if you're able to call in. So today, though, like I say, I wanted to talk a little bit about my own psychic predictions, and I want to thank all the people that have been on the program so far this year. We've had lots of different opinions, and several things are already starting to happen. You might notice that one of our psychics said there's going to be lots of layoffs in the tech industry, and we're starting to see that. And you notice the weather in California, especially, has been terrible, and we have been trying to get a handle on that. I'm here in Texas, and we got a little bit of that rain, but nothing like what they got in California. So we certainly hope that everyone that has been affected by the torrential rains in that area are going to be okay. So it's been interesting to hear about the people that feel like education is going to be a major factor in 2024. And this year is just going to be a little chaotic. We all seem to agree on that. I know that for me, it's been kind of a rough year. I've had some crazy things happen to me with Pluto going into Aquarius, and I happen to be a 0-degree Aquarian, and so Pluto's right there on top of my sun, and it's been there for a little over a week or so. And I had a blowout on a major highway, and it did quite a bit of damage. So I'm dealing with that, but these are things that you just have to work. You just have to work the problems. So that's what we're doing, and so I'm happy that I'm safe and no one else got injured during that little situation there in Houston. But we're back and safe and sound, and I'll be traveling again here in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be taking a couple of weeks to where I'll be working in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so I'm happy to do that. So we're going to take our first caller, and after the caller, I'm going to get to some of the psychic predictions for this year. And let's see if I'm missing anything. But, Amber, we have Amber in Des Moines, Iowa. So, Amber, are you there?
I am.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Okay. So Amber, I just feel a lot of distress around you. Have you been crying, or has there been a loss around a man here recently?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Is this a husband or a father?
Well, I lost my father, and today, my husband.
Both. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I know they're just an incredible loss. Has it been just this year, or has it been a relatively short period of time?
Yeah, my dad passed away 2 years ago.
Okay, but still, it feels like the pain is still there. So
Very much.
Amber, the feeling is that there's a little bit of loneliness around you. There's a little bit of not feeling connected right now. But a lot of people are feeling that at the moment. But we have to work our way through it. I was just mentioning how I'm working my problems. For me, I'm not for me to make you read about me, but it just seems like there's some unusual obstacles that have been happening, and of course, not anything as serious as what you've been, especially with people that are so close to you, like your father and husband. I'm going to go to your husband first because your husband, it just feels like this was a little bit of a surprise. Was this a surprise that you lost him the way you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was this like a heart attack or something sudden?
Heart attack.
Pardon me?
A heart attack.
Heart attack. Okay. Because he just didn't have a chance to say goodbye to you. And he just wants to he's telling me how much he loved you and that he's been reaching out to you. And he's frustrated that he hasn't been able to tell you goodbye and tell you that he's okay. But I feel like this may relieve a lot of his anxiety in the spirit world. But he wants you to know that he's there for you, and he does worry about you because he feels like that it's really been tough for you to cope with this. But he wants you to also know that other people are thinking about you and they're there to lend a hand if you need them to. So he now, do you have a brother?
Yes.
Okay, has he stepped up and tried to help you?
Yeah.
Okay, because he wants to acknowledge your brother and tell him thank you for being there for you, and he just says to just give yourself some more time to heal, give yourself some time to uh, get adjusted to this new environment that you're in. But he is okay. He says your dad is all right as well. It just feels like your dad was a little more expected. Because he may have had some illness around him, but
Hmm.
but of course we never want to lose a parent, especially when we're close to them. And I feel like you were close to your dad. So I hope this is helpful to you. Do you have a question for me before we move on?
I just wanted to. I just wanted to hear from my dad.
Okay. Well, your dad is saying that I don't know. Was your dad an animal person?
Yeah.
Because he's got animals, dogs and cats, and he's got all kinds of animals around him, and he says that they are giving him a lot of company. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, he sends his love to you and to the family because he says he misses all of you, but he's doing all right. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Okay. So I just want you to know that when someone calls in and pick up their voice print, and so much comes with the voice print. We there, there's a lot of things that you can do, and by the way, I'm planning to start my psychic journeys, psychic development classes next Tuesday night. If you have an interest, just go to my website, and I can show you how this works, and and how you can pick up on different cues from people's voices. And you can do that with objects, and you can do it in other areas. But that's just the imprints that you can pick up when you listen to someone when you pick up their voice. So hopefully you'll be able to see how I do things, and hopefully I'm not prodding anyone to tell me too much information. I know I ask questions. Sometimes I get criticized for asking questions, but for the most part, I try to pick up things as quickly as I can. So let's just talk a little bit about 2024. We know that 2024 is an 8 year. It's also the year of the dragon. If you listened to last week's program, you heard J5, my guest, our psychic healer, talk about the year of the dragon. And so lots of action this year. And right now, today, and for the next few days, you have Mars resting on Pluto. That's a trip. It happens maybe once a year or so, but it's happening right now as Pluto's making this transition. So maybe some combustible things, and of course those parts of the world where we have grown to expect combustion, we are seeing those things to where lots of monumental things can be happening. But this is a year for manifestation. But manifestation needs to be understood in more than one way. Yes, you can manifest big things, great things, wonderful things. But you can, if you're not careful, you can manifest big messes as well. So be careful in an 8 year, because an 8 year doesn't always mean good manifestation. Sometimes it can manifest bad things if you're not careful. So a lot of people will just say the positive, and that's good to just to say the positive, but there's always in metaphysics, there's always that other side, that you always have to kind of be aware of. It's just like Jupiter energy. Jupiter energy is about expansion, but if Jupiter is in your first house, you have a transit, you could gain weight. So because that's the house of the body, and so you have to be careful about that. You might carry water, especially if you have a water rising sign. So it just depends, and just because there's a year of manifestation doesn't mean that everything's just going to be simple and that you're going to be able to just manifest only good things, because you have to be careful with that. So I wanted to make sure that you understood that my way of thinking on those areas, and then we're going to talk to you a little bit about the presidential election, because I think that people want to know my thoughts on it. And so far we've had 3 psychics be non-committal on it. One said President Biden would win. Another said President Trump would win, and a third said Ron DeSantis would win. And this was on my YouTube channel. And on that particular channel, we don't know if Ron DeSantis will win or not. We're not there yet. So when we get there, we'll find out if that prediction will come true. Of course, you're going to have conflicts because people ride the energy, and they ride the energy that they're told on. And of course, we had one of our people who said it was not a psychic, Mr. Moore, Tom T. Moore. He's not a psychic, but he said the ETs told him that President Biden would win. So that's interesting, because that's who gives him the information. So we'll see what happens there. But let's go to our second caller, and our second caller is Joanna in Indianapolis. And Joanna, are you there?
I am.
So Joanna, do you ever listen to the program or watch it on Moonstruck?
I watched it a couple times. Yeah. Can you remind me what kind of work you do?
What kind of work I do? Okay. Well, I'm a psychic medium. I'm a psychic medium.
Okay.
Yeah. So Joanna, do you have a woman in spirit you're trying to reach? Is there a mother or daughter in spirit?
Not a mother or daughter, no.
Oh, your grandmother? Is this a grandmother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It just feels like you were really close to this lady. Were you close to your grandmother?
I was.
Okay. Because
I have two in spirit. I was closer to one in the beginning of my life, and got closer to the other in the end of her life.
Well, it just seems like the one that you were closest to almost lived with you or took a lot of care of you at one point in time. Did the grandmother that you? Okay, all right, because it just seems like she was kind of a role model for you, and that she was one that you always felt very safe with, and you felt like she was really truly a nurturer. So she was the one that was extremely gentle with you, and you just felt her kindness and love kind of permeate through her touch. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. Also, she may have given you stuffed animals or dolls, and so she might have even used to lay down with you, and she might have even read to you. So these are things that I'm seeing, and so she says Happy Valentine's Day to you, because it seems like she was someone that had a lot of joy in celebrating different holidays. So she wants you to know that she is sending you Valentine's kisses today. Okay. So now, Joanna, are you a mother? Are you a mom?
Say again?
You are?
Nope.
Okay. You're not.
No.
You're not a mom. Okay, because I don't know. I'm just seeing some children around you. Maybe these are nieces and nephews. I don't know why I'm seeing children, but it just seems to me that
I don't have any children in my life. I'm not a mom,
okay.
and I don't have nieces or nephews.
Okay, all right.
And I don't have close friends with children either.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's interesting. But I'm just seeing these might be guides then, that are around you. And so I just want you to know that you may have some joy guides around you, trying to make you be uplifted, and are seem to always be around you. So these are energies that I see, and I just want you to know that your grandmother is around you. The other grandmother seems to be trying to come in. You said that you knew her a little bit later on late in her life. Is that right?
I grew closer to her. I
You
wouldn't
grew
say
closer.
knew real well, but I did. I grew closer to her. I became
Okay.
kind of a comfort to her while she was making her exit.
Transition. Okay. Because it just seems like this was more of an adult relationship. This was a relationship to where you could maybe talk about things. It wasn't necessary. It was more woman to woman. That's what I'm getting. Okay. As opposed
Yeah.
to grandmother to just child. Okay. So, but this is a woman that was grateful that she got to know you later in her life. She may not have been feeling well when you were getting to know her, but it comforted her to know that her granddaughter took an interest in her because she felt like you took you went a little bit of the extra mile. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I actually have a question for her. Do you take questions?
Okay. All right.
So when she passed, she looked over my shoulder and she looked over my mom's shoulder. I was just wanting to know if you're able to ask her if she's able to tell me who she saw.
It looks like she was looking at a
Because
man.
she did that and then her spirit left her body. And her,
Okay, it looks like she was either looking. She either saw her father or she saw another. She saw a man because a man was coming to get her. You know if she was close to her dad at all? Did she ever talk about him?
I don't know a lot of, no, actually not at all. They were,
Oh,
yeah, no.
well, it just seemed like a man was there, a man that she had been close to. Maybe it was granddad. I don't know, but she certainly recognized him and she knew why he was there, and because it feels like he came to get her. But there was also Azrael was there for her, and that's a good thing when Azrael shows up, along with maybe even Archangel Michael. So she was surrounded by angels, that's for sure, when when she passed over. But she had a pleasant passing, she says, and she was very comforted. But it does feel like there was some male energy around her. Who that person was, I can't tell you if you, especially if you can't take that she was close to her dad at all. But
That's okay.
but this is what I'm seeing around her. So thank you
Gotcha.
very much,
Are
Joanna.
you, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, so we want to just go ahead and continue and just talk a little bit about 2024, because, like I say, this is a year that many people have dreaded to come, because of the different energies that we're experiencing right now, and with this transition of Pluto going into Aquarius, it's a big deal. Okay, because it hasn't been in this spot for over 200 years. And in that period of time, there were lots of new inventions, lots of new things. One of the industrial revolution started, shortly after the American Revolution, there was this industrial revolution. And it was such a big boom that the English even contacted the Americans. What did you do? What did you do to create this new industrial revolution? And we're starting to see that with new gadgets and new things that are coming about in our own space. And technology is moving so fast that it's hard to keep up with things. Just as one invention is being made, it's then made obsolete. And I may have something coming up on that in the next few weeks. It's kind of big, and I don't want to say it because I want to make sure it's going to work. but but if it comes to fruition, then I'll let you all know what's going to happen there. But it does involve some inventions. I had a couple of ideas, and so we'll see what happens with them. but I will. I'll let you know. But I wanted to just talk to you a little bit more about this Pluto energy, because when we see a major change into a different sign, um, beginnings feel a little bit like endings. It's all new. It's you have the relief of leaving one sign, but you have this new territory, and so you get a lot of people who are saying they're bewildered because they're not used to this new energy. You have to get used to it. You have to learn to navigate the new energy. And we talk lot about how Pluto was about corruption, about domination, and being in the second house to the United States, which is about property and which is about maybe the climate. We've talked a lot about that in the past 10, 15 years, and how we're moving towards a greener environment. Um, the Aquarian energy is not going to correct the corruption. It's not going to correct a lot of the things that were going on in Capricorn, but it is going to react to it. Okay. And when I say react to that, it means that the Aquarian energy says, okay, well, you're not going to change, so I'm going to ignore you. Okay. Uh, uh, Aquarius is this Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring in a little bit of an age of estrangement. And so if you had problems with people in the past and you had hopes that your relationship might get better, it's probably not. It's probably going to continue to be an estrangement and a moving away. That doesn't mean you can't, but it means that you will probably be forging to have new friends or new groups or new associations that will be more profound and more deeper than what they were in the past. And it's a shame in a way, but it's a matter of letting go of the past, because Aquarius is not going to spend a lot of time waiting on people to catch up to them. They're just going to pass it by. Okay. And you may feel passed by other people who no longer want to have anything to do with you because they felt like you were not going to change, or you were being intransigent, or they just didn't have the same belief system that you had. And that's why we outgrow friends, we outgrow relationships, and we move on. But that doesn't mean that you can have to be mean to anyone. It just means that you're moving on. Okay. So we see that in the government in the United States. We see that things are working themselves out slowly but surely. We see that a lot of people are just not going to deal with the government. They're going to bypass it, and that's why there's some good things about that, but bad things too. You see people up and leaving big cities, the companies up and leaving because they're not going to deal with it anymore. They're not going to deal with theft. They're not going to deal with crime. They're not going to put their employees in harm's way. So they're just going to leave. Okay. So that's part of that estrangement that I'm talking about. And you're going to see, and I hate to say it, but sometimes the police won't be able to come see you, or they won't feel like your call is a priority, and they're going to put it down on the list. I'm not saying they won't come eventually, but this is where we are because the public keeps voting for no police, and the public keeps moving left. And the United States is moving towards more like a California style situation. It can change, but this is the trend. And as long as this is the trend, this is the drift. This is the drift that we're seeing. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that Aquarian energy is not going to put their foot down and say, "Oh, we're gonna send troops to California to change things, to get the homeless situation taken care of," because they don't think it's a big deal. They think it's something that we just have to cope with it. So I'm not trying to get into the weeds or anything like that. But with Aquarian energy, Aquarian is very, very matter of fact. Okay, you don't want to cooperate. Okay, well I'm leaving. so that's just the Aquarian type energy. And so we're going to start to see those sorts of things. And of course, remember the last time, you probably don't remember, but last time Pluto was in Aquarius, the guillotine was created. And so Aquarius does have its limits. And so there may be some new inventive ways that we're not wanting to deal with in the future. So let's just try to get along, and let's work with this new energy and enjoy the ride with all the new stuff, and be kind to everyone another, because Aquarius is also the sign of humanitarian energy. So, but once again, that means if you're homeless and you don't want to come into the shelters and deal with the rules, well, Aquarius will give you a blanket and a cup of soup and say, stay outside. That's what Aquarius does. But so we're entering that new age, and we're going to be in it for quite a long time. And it's an new energy that we're going to have to get used to. And it's something that it may not sound positive, but there will be lots of positives out of it. And people have to make their own decisions. And that's what we're going to have to see. So as long as people insist upon a certain way, then the consequences may not be kinetic, but they may be from the market, or they're going to be from natural sources. And as long as they're willing to deal with those consequences, that's up to them. So Aquarius is just not going to interfere with things that they feel is not going to bear any fruit. So as far as the election is concerned, as long as the country continues to drift left, then that means that as long as President Biden is alive, as long as he's on the ballot, he most likely will win. Okay. There are too many factors against the President Trump. He has some really good stuff in his chart to show he could win. But as long as the trend continues, it looks like this is a situation for President Biden to win. So things can change and the trends can change, but right now that's where the energy is. So we're getting ready to wrap up our show for this week. I hope that you'll join us next week for another edition of The Psychic Side. I always want to thank my sponsor, Miracles of Joy. They opened up their new location in Bedford, Texas. So if you're in the area, you got 2 locations to go to. So go to their website, use promo code 0223, and you can get discounts on anything you purchase. So that's it for me. I'm John Cappello. This is The Psychic Side on the A1R Psychic Radio Network. So long for now, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.